Hey YouTube, Levi666 here. Good morning to you, and I'm going to do a Saturday morning deck tech. I played F&M last night. I top 8'd out of like 50 some people. My store is really competitive. There's a lot of guys playing a lot of different decks, a lot of homebrew decks, a lot of top tier decks, and I don't know, it's always fun to go in there. So this is my standard deck. I've always been a fan of Lingering Soul since it came out. So I like playing around that card, and so this is my standard token deck. So let's dive into the land base. 4 Hallowed Fountains, 4 Godless Shrines, 4 Isolated Chapels, 3 Glacial Fortresses, 3 Drowned Catacombs, a single Swamp and a single Plains, Vault of the Archangel, and Moorland Haunt. Going on to the creature base, running 3 Doomed Travelers. Only running 3 because as a 4 of, if you get him late, he's a dead card. And 3 is plenty. You know, you want 1 in your starting hand maybe, and you can draw into 1, but he's not necessary to start the game off. Full playset of Blood Artist. Excuse me. The Blood Artist is just awesome. With the way this deck works and you have a Blood Artist in play, it can really just freeze your opponent because they won't be able to attack. They don't want to kill any creatures. They don't want to wipe the board because they're going to lose too much life and they might die. Next creature. Drog Skull Captain. Protects all your spirit tokens, makes your spirits bigger. You know, X is, just another intangible virtue buff. And stops all my tokens from being targeted by detention spheres and so on. 3 Sorin, Lords of Innistrad, making more tokens, and he's making all the creatures bigger, not just the token creatures. The +1 emblem is, when he comes into play, it's almost instantly -2 emblem time. Next card is Liliana of the Veil. 3 of these, I really kind of use her as like a tribute to hunger, just like make somebody sacrifice a creature. But if she sticks around, you can get a lot of use out of her. I do use the discard a lot to, in sort of like a control atmosphere. You know, if you start the game with 4 lands, a Verdict, Liliana, and an Azorius Charm, that's a pretty good hand, and that's probably something I would keep and go for sort of more the control game and then go for the late win. Next card, 3 Supreme Verdicts, board wipes, and an alternate win con when you have a shit ton of creatures and a couple Blood Artists in play. You know, if they're down to 5 life and you got 1 Blood Artist and there's 4 other creatures on the board, I mean, that's the game. You just wipe the board and you win. Next card, we got 4 Intangible Virtues, making tokens bigger and giving them vigilance. With all the token hate, there's the Curse of Death's Hold and the new Gatecrash card that gives all tokens -1/-1. I mean, Wizards has printed up a whole bunch of ways for pretty much just apologizing for Lingering Souls. So having 4 copies of this is really good, along with all the other ways to make your tokens bigger. So you don't have to, so those don't become as much of a threat. There's no point in casting Lingering Souls when they just die instantly and that's it. So 4 Lingering Souls, clearly. 3 Midnight Hauntings. Doing 2 O-Rings. 2 Sphinxes Rev. Now, only doing 2 just because you don't want to get it too much. You really only need this card just to fill up your hand after like turn 6 or turn 7, maybe. And 2 of in this deck has been perfect for right now. And then 3 of Azorius Charm for drawing cards, for adding lifelink in race situations. For example, I was playing against a mono green deck, and we got into a quick race situation where we were both at 12 life, but I had an advantage with flying creatures and he didn't. So I swung with my flying creatures. It was 3, and they had an intangible versus a 2/2. So I play and I get the life link, gain 6 life, go back up to 18. He's now down to 6, and he's got to figure out how to win next turn. Otherwise, I win, and that's it. Even in that point, a Thragtusk isn't going to do much for you. All right, sideboard cards. All right, against Control and Mill, Witchbane Orb. Also, play this card against Door, Door to Nothingness. I didn't even know what that card did and didn't know that people were playing around it, and I found that out the hard way. 4 negates that go in against the control matchup, all 4 of them. 2 rest in peace for reanimator decks. 2 blind obedience for haste decks and for Obsidat. There have been quite a few Esper control decks that are playing, a couple copies of Obsidat just to get in there and do some damage. Well, if he comes in, they're always going to flash him, so you can't kill him during your turn. So if he's going to come into play, make sure he comes into play taps. You're not taking 5. Draining 2 and giving them 2 is enough. Don't let them hit you for 5. 2 gather the town folks. Just for once again for the haste matchup. Try to slow them down, and just get some blockers to make some trades. 2 tragic slips also for the haste matchup. It's one of those things where you just take out the O-rings for the tragic slips to kill, their champions and their Thalias and stuff real quick. And then the 3rd O-ring, just another O-ring to pretty much really go up against another control deck, or just when you need that exile removal. You got a token and a whole bunch of tokens there. You got to have a bunch of tokens. Let me know what you guys think. I really love this deck. It's really fun to play. It can be aggro-ish, it can be control-ish. It's a good time. And in a meta where everyone's net decking, this being like my own kind of homebrew, I'm really happy with the way it competes, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. It took me a long time to get all the shock lands and all the planeswalkers. I mean, this was a lot of money worth of cards for me to collect. And like I said, yeah, I'm really happy with the way it plays. So leave your comments, subscribe. I will be doing many, many more videos to come. I just gotta build another deck. So take it easy, YouTube. If you got any other questions about proxies and proxy orders, don't forget to message me. Peace.